Welcome back, everybody. All right, we are doing another troubleshooting episode. Okay, so let those notifications go out, and I want to say thank you to you all who, you're being patient. You understand that, I got to do it this way. All right, because I don't have a soundboard, I don't have the big engineering team behind me. You know what I'm saying? So, in order for me to get to the bottom of this, I do now know that it is the microphone. I did some more research and I learned that the condenser microphone, it picks everything up. So even though I may not be hearing certain appliances in the background running, and this is a studio apartment, okay? So that condenser mic, it's back in the box for later use. Because I was like, oh, okay, I don't have this is not the right setup for that. So we are back to the basics, okay? As to finding out okay, what's really going on and things like that. We do know that it has to do with the mic. 100% has to be. Okay. So, again, thank you. And we're going to do our typical. Okay, what's really going on and things like that. Okay. That it has to do with the mic. 100% has to. All right. So, we're going to look at the time and we have a strategy picked out. While I'm giving you all this message, okay, we have a strategy picked out. What we've done is the additional research. This is going to help some of y'all, okay, too, because I'm learning as well. It's a journey, we're all learning together. And so, what I learned with some additional research is that if the Wi-Fi tends to be a little unstable, which this one does every now and again, is to make sure that you have the minimum amount of devices connected to that Wi-Fi. So what I learned was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 devices during a live stream not gonna work. Okay, we gotta narrow it down to at least just the PC and then and the printer. No big deal. Okay, so that will hopefully help keep the Wi-Fi a bit more stable because we now know that the audio interference is not the Wi-Fi because yesterday's troubleshooting was on my Wi-Fi. Okay, there you go. And it was about 18 to 19 minutes in that it started to, that's roughly, okay, it started to go a little wonky. And so we did the unplug and plug back in. We're like, okay, we know that worked. But now we're going to go with just a plain old microphone that came with this baby right here. All right. And so we're going to see if we got to figure out which one has the best noise reduction there is in this particular environment. And if I've got to invest in something else, that's fine, what have you. But we also know it's not the adapter. So I'm just giving y'all some updates on what we have figured out that it is and is not. Okay. And we know it's not a spiritual attack. We got to figure out which one has the best. And so far, I'm not even thinking that, okay, I've heard some people say that the audio quality of the device itself is not necessarily all that great, but considering that this apartment has some echo to it, I think that can be a little bit debunked as well because we're learning that all of this depends on what your environment is. Yeah, interesting. Okay, everybody. So there's a note to take there. All right. Yes, I know I'm a little bit late with this, but I am Michelle Dickey, your host for the Let's Just Chat show, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance and Facebook at Michelle Dickey and Consulting for Heightened Awareness. Now, today, we're including all three that we usually stream to as part of our troubleshooting. Yesterday, we just did the YouTube channel and Consulting for Heightened Awareness at Facebook. So today I wanted to bring in that third one, my personal profile on Facebook, because those are the three that we normally stream the show to. And so we don't want to break that. I guess I don't really want to call it a routine, but we don't want to break that structure. Okay. And so, as we continue to do this and you guys get to see, today I wanted to bring in that third. Okay. So we are about 5 minutes in, so I just want to do a quick check. And then, like I said, I'm going to keep having on the time. I have a strategy. So thank you all for your patience and understanding. So when I do that real quick, we'll go come right back. All right. We're just checking to make sure that all is running, as it should, and figure other things out if needed. Okay, you all. And it's like the God Spirit's telling me, I think we're getting real close if we haven't already solved it. All right. So yes, prayers, everyone. That's right. Glory be to God. All right, because Jesus is on the job all the time. All right, but I want to get you this: that the enemy, he targets oxygen. Okay, you all, seriously. And he does it in a number of ways. And when you are paying attention, spiritually discerning, and you see the societal level of narcissistic abuse going on, and with fear-mongering messages and things like that, there's a lot of different ways that he does that. And we can understand why. Because oxygen is what? Well, it's essential for survival, right? For breathing and for living, right? Okay, yeah, so there you go. And that's just the thing that he likes to target the most. And he'll do it in a number of ways. And one of the ways, I'll share with you all some story time, okay, from that ex-psycho roommate. One of the ways that the enemy used him to target my oxygen was by tampering with my beef. So what is beef? Yeah, it's full of iron. What does iron do? That's right, it fuels our oxygen, okay, our bloodstream, our oxygen, okay, it's just all part of the system. And so he was targeting that so that I was unable to properly digest or eat beef there for a time. And then at the same time, he rigged up radio frequency, all right, yes, outside and stuff. So I saw the sine waves, y'all. That was actually pretty cool. You actually see him, because what he did is he rigged up Wi-Fi antennas, right, outside of the, like in the attic area. Okay, and so what they were doing, y'all, this is physics 101, the law of reflection, okay? And so he was targeting my vitamin D. He was trying to keep me from being able to go out and lay out at the pool, okay? Or even clean the pool. That was one of my responsibilities. So he was trying to keep me from being able to get any sun, all right? So he's targeting my vitamin D. You all got to realize the enemy targets that immune system, okay? That's basically it. But first and foremost, he's got to target that oxygen, because, well, we need oxygen to speak, right? To breathe and speak and to live, okay? So that's really the big thing right there. He does target it. And then I just shared with you one of the many ways that the enemy did that, through the ex-psycho roommate. And then he rigged that up so that I couldn't go outside, because I would get like briefly electrocuted. And so when I was doing the research, and like I said, the sine waves, they were like in rainbow colors. I saw them moving. It's like, okay. And I was not outside. I was just, the door was closed, but it's a glass door, so I could actually see it. And what he was doing is rigging that up, because I used to go out in the morning with coffee. At the time, I switched over to tea. I used to go out and I used to talk to one of my family members every morning. First thing in the morning, I would say good morning to him, and I would have my tea while talking to him. And so what he was doing was, that's right, y'all guessed it. Yep, electrocution, right? And then here's the target. Device next to the ear. Use your self-thinking, all right? This is how bizarre. I mean, y'all, these narcissistic abusers, these psychopaths and sociopaths, they do these things. And it's all over the internet how to. So it's not like, and seriously, the way that he did it, rigged all that up, not his first rodeo. And then like the last case study, I dragged my butt down that carpeted stair. Oh gosh, that's not her first rodeo either. Right, y'all? See, that's why I took a forensic analysis to figure that out. Okay, and so I'm just here to tell y'all, these psychos out here, man, they will stoop to low level. I mean, there's no level too low for them. And so that's what is going on. And yes, that was another attempt to try to put me back to sleep, you all. I'm telling y'all that, and once you get that clarity and that heightened awareness, and you are getting God's wisdom, oh yeah, you ain't going back to sleep. No matter what the enemy does. No weapon formed against thee shall prosper. Okay, but that's exactly what, because now I'll share with you why. Because it's the other reason why the enemy targets oxygen. Okay, it's mucus. That mucus. It's sound check time. We'll come right back to that. Once you get that clarity and that heightened awareness, and you are getting God. Okay. Alrighty then. Okay, mucus. Think about this. All right, we know that your bad parasites like warm, mucousy places. For those who did not know that, listen, that comes from research, and that comes from my toxicology background as well. Remember, I had to take several pharmacy type classes during that program for my forensic toxicology. degree. Okay. I had to take those courses. So it required additional research. And this is where all this is coming from. Okay. And it's a fact too. And I used myself, okay, as a guinea pig of sorts, if you will. All right, to test out what I was, kind of like testing out theory. Okay. Not in a bad way, but to see if what I was learning actually applied. And it, a little bit of it does, not all of it. Remember, truth mixed with lies, okay? So this is why we discern. And part of us building that discernment is testing out theories like that. So what I did was I was like, okay, so we're learning about all of that and the mucus production. Because what does mucus do? Okay, mucus will gravitate towards places that have been impacted by, some sort of, well, I don't want to say accident or whatever, but let's just say that it was an impact, like being dragged down a set of stairs. Okay, so there'd be certain parts of the body that would be impacted, right? Okay, acute and minor, yes. Okay, but not you know what I'm saying. And of course, depending on the circumstances. In my case, it was minor. All right, so what happens is the mucus gravitates towards those spots that got impacted. Okay, and that's where the discomfort comes from. Okay, and what that does is it kind of puts a little wall of mucus in the way. That way, when you take a deep breath, it's a little more challenging to get oxygen to those necessary places. Self-thinking, okay? All right, so that's another way that he targets oxygen. And there's a ton of other ways too, okay, you all? And just never forget, think about the negative energy when you are around narcissistic abusers, right? And that environment feels really, really stuffy, right? Okay, and it's not really difficult to breathe, but it does feel suffocating, right? Okay, there you go. Right, and that's just another way that you can try to do it. And if y'all can think of some other ways, okay, you all. Yeah, I'm gonna come over here to the comments. Thank you for your patience. Hey, Real Deal Prime. Yes, good day, y'all. All right, and if y'all can think of some other ways that you found out that the enemy targets oxygen, look, y'all, when we get into spiritual awakening and we have truth seekers, and then common sense and logic comes in, and we understand that this always makes me laugh how the enemy hates humanity, right? He hates humanity, but he is dependent on humanity because without a human host, he doesn't exist. Think about it. Right? So it's like, why are you targeting the oxygen? Thing is, though, is that it's the same pattern. If he can't get to us himself, he sends that flying monkey narc, right? If that doesn't work, he tries to get us to do it to ourselves. And I got some more revelation for you all about that coming up, okay? After we finish this message, we got a couple of things that I want to cover with you all while we do this troubleshooting session, okay? And we are going to, just so you all know, we're going to go as long as necessary to remedy this troubleshooting thing that we got to do. Okay, we're going to remedy it as much as possible. All right, today, so that I'll know what I'll need to do tomorrow. Okay, all right, you all. But yeah, as the enemy is targeting oxygen and things like that. All right, and think about this too. All right, this brings to my remembrance how they feed on our spiritual energy. Right? How do they do that? Right, they trick us into engaging in what? Long, drawn out conversations so that we are, dishing out our spiritual energy. Many of us, after 20, 30 minutes of talking to one of these toxic narcissistic abusers, walk away and go, why do we feel tired all of a sudden? That's why. That's because remember, they're energy and emotional vampires. That's how they do it, right? They are sucking in our carbon dioxide. Okay? There you go. That's what they're doing. Okay. And so that's it's just what they do. It's that spiritual energy. Okay. And that's why we ended up feeling drained. And that's why we learned later on that if we've got how to deal with them, if any interaction with them, then it's got to be limited. Okay. Very limited interaction with them. And as much as if you're still in an environment where you have to deal with these toxic narcs, just know that limited contact, that's cutting them off at the soul level, and then walking away as much as possible, and interaction very minimal, right? For that reason, so you preserve and protect your spiritual energy as God revealed to you what else you need to see, or what else it is that he needs you to learn, maybe about yourself, maybe another skill set. Like I teach often, I want everybody to remember the importance of that. If you are still in a toxic environment, that means that God has something else for you to learn, for you to see, for him to show you in the spiritual or in the physical. Okay, is there something? And I mean, you ask him and he'll reveal it. Ask God, okay? Because he will always deliver us out from under these things on his time and when he sees we're ready, just like he levels us up when he sees we're ready. For example, to help you all put it in perspective, I needed to see what went down in the spiritual with the passing of somebody in that environment. Okay, I had to see how they were like vultures. I had to see how these narcissistic abusers come in and whoosh, okay, and how they sucked the last breath right out of one of their own. Okay, I did. I was like, wow, I don't want to see that again. And so the Lord, like, you don't have to see that again. That's what I needed you to see. That's why I was still there. Now you see where we're at. Okay, there's your example, your inspo. All right, that's what it was. Okay, the Lord had to reveal that to me in the spiritual, and then I also watched in the physical how, oh man, okay, I go more in detail about that situation on our Patreon channel, and you can always, for easy access, you can always find these social links that I spit out at you. All right, on the My Social page of the website at CDHRWDRMD.org. One more sound check, and I'm going to move on to the second thing that God revealed to me here recently about the manipulation of the brain chemistry and how, because that's part of the trauma bonding process, right? Okay, and then now we understand why that last case study thought that she got me trauma bonded to her when she didn't, and I'm going to explain why. I'm going to be transparent with y'all. All right, thank you for your patience again. We are just testing some things out, and we're going to test that out again as well. Okay, you all, but yes, okay, the manipulation of the brain chemistry. All right, that is the trauma bonding process, right? Okay, that is that constant push-pull on dopamine and norepinephrine, okay? That's right. It's the constant high and low, right? Okay, a constant upper and a constant downer. Right. So remember, God did not design our body to be manipulated like that. He did not design our biochemistry to be abused that way. And so what happens though is many of us as victims and then survivors and then warriors, what happens is that, the majority of us ended up, that's right, turning to different substances as coping mechanism. You're not alone. All right, we're going to go one more check real quick. Push-pull on dopamine and norepinephrine. Okay, that's right. Okay, because I'm using the time frame from yesterday to do I'm not doing a comparison, but it's like as a guide. Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm using the time frame as a guide. Like we're live about the same time we went yesterday. Well, a little bit earlier than when we went yesterday, but still nonetheless. All right, we're just testing some things out. Okay, you all, again, and yeah. All right. So yeah, that upper and that downer. Okay, dopamine is the upper, norepinephrine is the downer. As you'll learn about and how the trauma bond is formed at CHAAcademyBTBW.com, is how dopamine. Okay, that's right. An influx of dopamine comes, from the love bombing, right? Those feel good. Those over-the-top compliments, right? And putting us on a pedestal. And so we get an influx of dopamine, right? That's the upper, okay? And then they turn around and do a deval, right? They got to take it back down. That's that downer. And that dopamine converts to norepinephrine, okay, you all? And if there's not enough DBH enzyme to do that, well, you still have be a bit unbalanced, okay? Because that was upper, and then they just constant poof. Okay, that's what's happening, and it's not just it's in the brain and it's in the body because you feel it. You know what I'm saying? You feel it. It's like, wait a minute, they just gave me a compliment. but then they want to like take it back, and now you feel like crap, right? Okay, well, that's what it's designed to do. Think about this. Alcohol is a downer, okay? Let's say nicotine is an upper. It's a stimulant, right? You have certain substances that are a stimulant, while alcohol is a downer. You all are about to see where I'm going with this. This was profound when God revealed it to me, because I was asking God, how come the enemy continues to think that we got trauma bonded to the case study when we didn't? Because I wanted to know. I know, aside from the fact that the enemy is stupid, okay, because I was like, what is it that they're just not seeing? Where there's a connection somewhere that I hadn't caught on to yet. Now we have. I'm bringing it to you all. Is that this is why they will think that we got trauma bonded to them if we're still engaging in. That's right. Okay. So I'm going to share some story time with you all. Okay. I go more in detail again on the Patreon channel about exactly when. Okay. But yes, you are not alone. I used to smoke. Okay. Cigarette. I used to. I quit. But I used the vape to do so. Then I started taking the amount of nicotine and I started reducing it, using that device as it's intended to be used. Okay. So that way, I was doing, what I mean? It's like not going to throw my whole body in the shock. I took a toxicology course, right? Okay. So I'm stupid. Okay. So we're like, all right, because we understand what those substances do, how they operate. We understand how those substances operate at the CYP enzyme level, y'all. Right? So I knew that I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna be able to just like, okay. And then at the time, I would have a few beers or so. And I was like, okay, well, we can't just, we've broken the trauma bond. We're healed. So now those things were just out of habit at that point. And so I was like, okay, now we got to break these habits and take time, y'all. Like, do not rush the process. When you turn it over to God and you ask God, oh, yes, by the way, I've quit the vape now too, okay? It's just so you all know, it's a process, okay? And that God is going to guide our steps. He's like, okay, because that vape served its intended purpose, get me on. Boy, that was like several months ago. We're in August of 2023, and so it's been more than that, actually. It's like been, May, June, July, August, It's been, a few months. It was sometime in May of 2023 that I finally gave those up. And I was like, okay. And so then now here recently, we were on the same mentor. Let me give you all the tip on how I did that, okay? Because once you break that trauma onto the wall and you are fully healed and nothing triggers you anymore, that's when you'll be able to break these habits. I'm here to tell you that if you try to break those habits before you're fully healed, it's not going to work. I'm just saying. I'm not encouraging you all to continue. I'm being moderation now, mind you. Moderation, okay? Right, but we understand what's going on because you're not alone. We all, okay, we're driven. Not all of us did, but a lot of us were driven to other substances, a coping mechanism to get through it because of the abuse, okay? The traumatization. Since we were born into this world, right? Okay, so there you go. All right, and so how I did it. And you are fully healed and nothing triggers you anymore. Okay, well, just like I said, we're gonna do those periodic sound check. All right, everybody, and I don't. So far, so good. Yay, glory be to God. And so what I did is a mental exercise, right? Okay, I had to mentally prepare myself, right? So I had to tell myself, okay, it's time. It's like all of that stuff served their intended purposes. We don't need those anymore. We're good because nothing triggers us anymore, right? And so we're like, okay, we're just continuing it out of habit because it's done it for a long period of time. It just became a habit. So I was like, all right. So now we worked on that one. And so, yes, we did have a little bit of, I guess you could say, outside influence, okay, with some stuff going down. Not out of fear or anything, but just for the fact that I was like, it was being made more inconvenient to even have a cigarette, okay? So which was actually a blessing in disguise because it was like, you know what? I had already been thinking prior to that for quite some time. I'm mentally telling myself, okay, it's time for us to get off of these things. We don't need these things anymore. So for many weeks, Okay, I just kept telling myself, I was talking to myself, kept coaching myself. Okay, coaching myself right out of them things. Right, and then I was like, okay, now I know some other things work to help get people off of stuff. And then I remembered that when the vape came out, I remember I had met someone years ago who did just that. And she had told me about the different milligrams. Like you can start at a particular milligram and then work your way down, okay, almost to zero. Well, this gal here worked my way down to 3, and then in the garbage that stuff went when I made up my mind. See, it's all about making up that mind. It's that mindset, y'all. Seriously, it's that mindset. So important. Okay. And so I did the same thing, but this time it only took about a week for the vape. I told myself, okay, it served its intended purpose. It got me off of those other things. It served its intended purposes. And so what I did, okay, because part of it, breaking that habit, for those of you who are thinking and need to do this as well, and then for those of you for when you're ready, okay, you got to do it when you're ready. I was ready. Okay, so what I did to break the hand to mouth habit, I decided not to take the vape with me anywhere. When I would go out, I left it right here. I left it inside. I did not even touch it. Okay, and then I wouldn't even think about it. I would deliberately not allow myself to think about it. And then, of course, after I would eat something, okay, and then I found out that I wasn't even using it as often as I once was. And that sealed the deal for me. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, hold on a second. And then I noticed a particular reaction, after not using it for several hours or more, and then going to use, I used a certain action. I was like, wait a minute. I don't need that. Like, hold up a second. That's like familiar push-pull. You see? The enemy's trying to get me to do it to myself, right? Okay, well, it doesn't work. Once you're emotionally regulated, that's not going to work. Okay, just so y'all know. This is why when we don't get easily trauma bonded anymore, the enemy is going to think that if we're still engaging in that type of behavior, okay, still using a stimulant and maybe drinking a downer, okay, if we're still doing that, even though it's just out of habit at that point, then we just got to break them. And so that's what we're working on. See, now y'all know where I'm at on this journey, okay? See, being open with y'all. Okay, there's no reason for anybody to be ashamed of the things that we have to do and the things that we have to overcome. And it's because with God, all things are possible. And that's the big reason why we knew it was time. We was like, we got to give this stuff up. We don't need it no more. I mean, we never needed it, but it was our coping mechanism. But when we're on the other side of that rainbow and we've got that balance between the spiritual and the physical, well, there you go. All right, we're going to, it's a process, okay, step by step. Then we just got to break them. And so that's what we're working on. See, now y'all know where I'm at on this journey. All right, doing the periodic sound check and looking at the time and all of that. Like I said, we're going to go as long as we need to ensure that, we've got this troubleshooted and remedied, okay? And if you all, like I said, again, if you all have any suggestions about that, okay, regarding frequency and audio interference, I'm going to continue to research as well, and things like that. But we are going to start doing sound checks, okay, throughout, not as often, but throughout live. But I want to involve you all, okay? We are a community, spiritual warriors for Christ, after all, okay? Iron sharpening iron. So I am including you all in on this journey with us, okay, as we are, doing what we're doing, okay, and as we are making the changes, that we need to make. Well, that's the Godhead making the changes from within, okay? So I just wanted to give you all that info and that information, but that's why the enemy would think that we would get trauma bonded if he sees that we're still, because what he'll do is he'll interpret that as we're still trying to cope, when no, it had nothing to do with that. It was just we had to break the bad habits. Addictions are addictions. It's just not, you got to break them, right? And so it's a process. And so it's like we already knew, but we already realized it was more out of habit than anything at that point. And so still engaging in some of that behavior with the stimulant and then a downer, but not near as much of a downer as we once did. Okay, y'all? Got to recognize the moot in our own eye. We ain't perfect. Okay. And so the enemy saw that we were still engaging in somewhat of that. But it's funny because I was like, that was only a 3 milligram of nicotine. It's not that much. Now, it's only a few glasses of wine. It's not that much. I mean, it wasn't. Okay, you see? But the enemy it's just the sheer fact that enemy saw you doing that, he thought that you were still trying to cope. And he thought that it was actually, it was working, indirectly that way with the upper and the downer, but it wasn't having the same effect as it used to before we were fully healed. I want y'all to understand that. It didn't have the same effect anymore. Not only that, it's because we realized that once we accept the fact, oh, this is just out of habit now, okay, it's still going to have some effect, but it won't be near, okay, it won't be near what it used to be because of that heightened awareness, for one. All right, there you go. And then also, maturing and then outgrowing. All right, listen, y'all, we got to outgrow them party days for those of us who went through that. Okay, we got to outgrow it. I got to put that away. So we do. We put it away. And so now we understand that that's why the enemy would think and get tricked into thinking that we are or would be or are still trauma bonded if he sees that we're doing that, because that demon of assumption will cause that human host to assume that we are still trying to cope with something. Listen, if I was still trying to cope, then how in the world do I have how to deal with toxic coworkers available at CHAacademybtbw.com? I got 5 tried and true steps for how to deal with these toxic narcissistic abusers, and those steps apply to them in any environment. I would not be able to have put that course together if I was still trying to cope. No, I ain't got to cope with nothing. When I see the patterns of narcissistic abuse, I walk away. I don't allow myself to get pulled in. I don't allow myself to be involved in chaos and drama. In other words, no matter what, let's say somebody tells me, oh, can you tell so-and-so? That's between you two. All right, we're walking away. We got work to do. Okay, that's how it works in our reality, okay, in God's reality. While we're co-creating our reality in God's reality, that's how it works. That's right. We've walked away from the world and spirit. We ain't got to cope with nothing. Right now, it's just a matter of letting God help us break the bad habits. That's it. All right, bad habit. And so we just want to keep on keeping on. All right, you all. But if I was, when I see the pattern of narcissistic abuse, I walk away. I don't. There you go. Okay. Yep. Like I said, periodic sound checks. I'm gonna look at the time, make a timestamp. And that's the thing. It's that when we are fully healed, we don't have any reason to be coping. So we have to recognize within ourselves, all right, so now these are just bad habits. And they are, because they're addictions, right? So we just got to break them. And we figure it out. All things are possible with God. And so I asked God, and God's the one that told me, go ahead and use that method to get off of that, and then we'll get you off of that, and then we'll get you off of that, and that, whatever. It's that. I'm not on that much, y'all. It's just a few things. But I'm just saying, God's helping us change our ways. That's how he creates a new creature in us, okay? That is how we become the best version that God created us to be. If we let him turn full control over to God, that's what we did. The moment we committed ourselves to picking up that cross and following Jesus, and we said, okay, God, it's all yours. The moment we did that, that's right, he took over. I mean, he's always been in full control anyway. It's just that we kept trying to have a little of that to ourselves, right? Let's not deny it, y'all. We tried to have a little bit of it to ourselves, right? We wanted some of that. And then we realized that that's out of our control. Let God do it. Let God handle it. God knows what he's doing. We don't. Okay, so we have to admit that to ourselves. And we have to admit that, guess what? Nobody's perfect. And so if my revealing any of that to you all, kind of like disappointed some of y'all, then hey, listen, I'm just being real. I'm keeping it real with y'all, is that because we're not perfect, and that's going to inspire somebody to actually go and break those bad habits themselves. That's why, another reason why I wanted to share that, to let you all know it is doable. Mindset. Never forget that. It's all about mindset. So now let's do a recap. Okay? That the enemy targets that oxygen. That would be another way he does it, is by getting us addicted to smoking something. That's another way he targets the oxygen. Think about it. That it goes hand in hand. All right, because the enemy needs to see us addicted to things because he wants to get the illusion or that glee, if you will. He wants to be able to. He'll think. Okay, the human host of the demon, of the demon spirits are going to automatically think, because when they see other people who are addicted to a substance or something, they're going to automatically assume that that person is trying to cope. And see, that's why many targets of narcissistic abusers, happen to be addicted to something, right? Yeah, addicted to something because of what we didn't know before is narcissistic abuse, and that we've been exposed to it our entire life. Okay, that it had been around, and that it was just hiding in plain sight there for quite some time. Okay, and so now that we understand what we were dealing with, and that many of us were narcissistically abused our entire life. Yep, not just at home, in home, and then maybe at work, at school, wherever we went. Okay, we were persecuted, right? Okay, and then never forget, you all, yes, when you get in God's reality and the spiritual awakening, the enemy's still going to try to persecute you. Okay, that's like that last case study, tried. But this is what it really got to sink in, that no weapon formed against thee shall prosper. Okay, because a lot of those things that were done were designed to try and trick me into thinking that I was going to need things out there that I don't need. And I know I don't, because I know my body, and I know God. I trust God 100%, and I'm also a grown adult. Okay, I know the very basics. Okay, when we know how to take care of ourselves. Okay, that's the bottom line. And because of the fact that a lot of the stuff that we've been through throughout our life, if something occurs like that, and it won't happen again, but something occurred like that, and we're like, oh, we pretty much know exactly what to do, especially when we know that it's acute and then it's minor and it's not permanent. Okay, because we were already told that it's not permanent, because they have to tell you the truth. All right, they have to tell you the truth, and then maybe try to squeeze in a lie. All right, that's how it operates out there, you all. And it's just so funny, when they did that, I was like, oh, okay. Oh yeah, never ceases to amaze me. But I just want y'all to keep going. All right, we're gonna do another brief check. If something occurs like that, and it won't happen again, but something occurs like that, and we're like, oh, we pretty much know exactly what to do. All right, see y'all, I'm see that. All right, so y'all know what is going on here, is that we realize now that it's not we know it's not the adapters. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're gonna wrap this up, because we've done the we're running about the same time frame that we did yesterday, and have not. All right. Yeah, it looks like we may very well just be on the path. We are going to do some additional research, absolutely. So what we've done now, we know it wasn't the Bluetooth. We know that it is not necessarily the fridge or the appliances themselves, but it was the microphones that were picking them up. Okay, that's it, because at the bottom line, that's the only thing it could be. And so, again, to share with you all, I came across the article about the condenser mics in this type of environment with a bit of echo, not the best mic. And so I don't know about the other microphone, okay, that that I used for the drive-by with Michelle. All I know is that last Saturday we did not have an issue, but the difference there is that I'm using a different software as well. I know there's nothing wrong with StreamYard. We know that. But what I'm saying, if we use another browser, we use a whole different browser, a whole different software for that. And then for the StreamYard, we use a different browser and the StreamYard for this. So, it's just that. But I don't know. I don't know why yesterday when I was using the mic that I used for the other show, I don't know why it was doing that. And it took about, it took roughly anywhere from the 17 to 20 minute mark, somewhere in there where it started to go a little funky. And so I was like, okay, well, it is what it is. So we'll be troubleshooting, as we need to. And again, I want to give everybody a huge thank you, all right, for your patience and understanding on that. And, we do try to keep these episodes around 30 minutes. But when we're doing, let's just say when I see some interaction in the chat or we're doing a troubleshoot, I got to go a little bit longer. Okay. So thank you all again for your understanding and patience. All right. Really appreciate it. And I want y'all to keep going. All right. Keep on keeping on. Yes, you can. All right. And if you are in that season of trying to break some bad habits, keep trying. Okay. Practice. Mental. Okay. It's all mental. It's all about mindset. Okay, because when you got to get yourself to make up your mind, right? There you go. You got to make up your mind because there's some things to go with it. All right. So you got to do that mental work. Yeah, and tell yourself that time, right? Once you're fully healed, then time. Okay, so you'll need that no more. All right, you all, as always, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. All right, that's what we're here for. Yes. Okay, everybody. So don't forget, we have the CHA's masterclass. That's right. And that is going to be using StreamYard, yes, but only through an unlifted YouTube link. I want to let y'all know that, okay? That we're only going to do that through an unlifted YouTube video link. So only those who reserve their spot right on the website for August 18th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I've got 5 how-tos that I'm going to deliver to you all for how to break that dependency on external validation. And so what you'll do is when you reserve your spot, after you check out, then I'm going to send you an email with that unlisted video link. Okay? Yeah, that's all set up. Notes are taken and everything. I just got to print them out. That's it. Okay? And so it will give you those tried and true how-tos. And then you can take them and put them into action and start breaking that dependency on external validation so that your trauma healing can take off. All right, there you go, because it will. So level that right up. Okay, and you're going to start to notice less will trigger you. Yeah, see, that's another reason why the enemy needs to keep people dependent on external validation, because, yes, the more dependent they are on external validation, just like the narc, the more easily triggered they will be. Once you break all of that, you won't be easily triggered, if at all. So there's your foundation for all of that, for overcoming trauma triggers. It's breaking that dependency on external validation right there. All right, if you have any questions about that, don't hesitate to reach out. If you leave those in the comments on the replay, I will get to them as soon as possible. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for the Let's Just Chat show, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, and Facebook at Michelle Dickey, and Consulting for Heightened Awareness. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and your support. Until next time, show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.